What's going on, everyone? I've got the new Axial Base Camp here in front of us. This is the SCX3 that Axial just recently released, and it's made to be a stripped down version of the SCX3. Had the new transmission, and just overall pretty bare bones. It's made for newcomers or custom builders to give them a base to start with. And taking the idea of it being a base for custom builds into consideration, Matt and I decided to do a little bit of a build off with each other, giving each other 24 hours to do something with this truck. He and I did a Skype call just a handful of minutes ago to decide the exact rules of what we're going to do. So we're going to cut to that call quickly so you guys can hear what we decided. We're here from the future. No, the past. Are we in the past? We're in the past now.
We're in the past now. This is the past. It's not now.
Future us is talking to past us. You got your stock truck in front of you?
We're talking to each other. Yeah, it's right here. This is still stock. I haven't done a single thing to it. Nothing has changed. I'm taking the top off. Still totally normal in there. The only thing that's changed, and this happened before, I took the receiver out.
Oh.
That's it.
Okay.
It is completely stock in every way, shape, and form.
Same with mine. Even has the nut covers on still. So.
Yep.
Our outline / rules for this are very few.
Yes. It's
24
the simplest
hours.
mayhem we've ever done.
Exactly. 24 hours we're giving each other.
That's it. Just 24. Not more, not less.
Not a minute less, not a minute more. I'm
just 24.
Other than we're going to do
like
a short live video.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Maybe, well, today. No, 3 days ago.
3 days ago, we're going to do a short live video, which we'll link to,
Man,
and
this time
which is linked
is
in the
hard.
description below, probably.
Check that out, hopefully below.
Like and subscribe.
So yes, the only rule, other than that it's in 24 hours, is that we have to continue to use the stock body.
We have to use the body, and that has to be used.
We have to use this.
The creme
has to be used. In what way?
I'm not here to judge.
Who knows?
So, obviously,
that's not my place.
We're both going to be pushing for custom work rather than just part slapping.
Yep.
But we've left it wide open. We're not tracking budget, anything like that. So,
no budget on this. I know that. I mean, you've got a lot of different ways that you're going at this, and I've got a lot of different ways. We're going to talk about that after this is over.
Yes, I'm not telling you my plans
spoiling it for each other.
Not telling you what I'm doing.
No, absolutely not. You get to know nothing.
You know, so
and like it.
That's it. The clock is going to start in 18 minutes.
Oh boy! All right, and that's basically it. They're still completely stock. Nothing has changed, and we're going to make them special.
So let's see what we can do. You get no other hints. That's it. So now that you've got the general outline of what we decided, I'll give you a little insight to what my plans are. I have lofty goals. I am going to push myself to see what I can truly get done in 24 hours. My goals for this are to turn this into something that's kind of a hybrid desert truck rock crawler thing. I'm going to leave the portal axles on there, but I am actually going to go to some smaller tires. I'm going to take off these 475 tires and I'm going to switch to 4.19s. I'm going to lower the ride height down by swapping out the shocks to a shorter shock in the front. In the rear, I'm going to swap out the shocks to match the front, but I'm going to stay with the same length because I'm going to adjust how they mount, because I'm going to try and give this thing a little bit more rear suspension travel, a little bit more desert-like. That's the plan. So by doing that, I also want to make it look more desert appropriate in the back by doing some tube work. And that is where things are going to get excessive. I'm actually going to run spare tires, which is not something I normally do. And I'm going to go through and change the bumpers out front and rear. I do hope to unpaint the windows, clear them out, or cut them out, depending on my success with the methods that I hope to use. I got a couple of different options. I've got Protoform's body cleaner, and evidently this works to remove paint. So I've got that to give a try. I also have a can of 30% nitro fuel. So I know that this one will work. We're going to try and figure out what we can do. After I paint the windows, however you want to call that, I plan on putting an interior in this. Oh, I just noticed that the timer needs to start right now. So I need to put a timer for 24 hours, which evidently is as long as an iPhone timer will go. So since my time's on the clock, I need to get hustling. I'm also going to swap out the electronics in here. I'm gonna pull out the brush motor and that Spectrum ESC and the servo. We're gonna put a Reefs 888 servo in the front, so tons of steering power. I got a Reefs 300 IS comp spec winch. And then I tried to get a Spectrum 2-in-1 here in time, and unfortunately it didn't make it. So I'm going to find a different brushless setup to throw in here. We got a lot to do. I am going to start by taking off these wheels and tires, mounting up the 419s on the new beadlock wheels, and changing the shocks so that I can start seeing where everything needs to mount. I'm diving right into work. So we're already 2 minutes past the start time. Let's go. Truck is stripped down. I won't be using the rear battery tray, replacing the motor, ESC, and servo, so that's all out. I'll be reusing the receiver. I probably will change the radio, but I have another Spectrum that I've got, so I'll probably throw that in. But we're stripped down. I need to pull the wheels and tires off next and build the new shocks and replace those. So I've got my tires here. These are Proline KM3 4.19 inch tall tires. I've had these before. They're not used. They're still basically new, even though they've been mounted on trucks a number of times, but just never ran before. I had purchased another pair for what my spare tire was going to be. However, I purchased the wrong ones. These are the taller version of them, and so those aren't going to work, which is a bummer. So instead, I'm going to have to pick a different spare tire. I've got a number of choices. I can always get another set of these tires at a later date, but that date is not going to be within 24 hours unless my local hobby shop has it, which we will find out. I was hoping to be able to use the Vanquish VS410 Origin bumper because it's a little bit thinner, slimmer. It's got a better kind of approach angle, you know, with that. But the problem is that the mount on the SCX3, this thing's too low and it actually sticks out too far. So while it would be a nice, a better slope to it, I'm not gonna be able to use it. So I'm gonna have to stay with this one, and we'll just get it tucked in since we've got the 4.19 tires on there and the 80 mil shocks. You can see it sits much better, and we shouldn't have clearance problems any longer with that front bumper. I still have the 90 mils, the stock 90 millimeters on the back. You can see the difference between the ride height of that 90 mil versus the more reasonable 80 millimeter. So I've pulled the rear shock towers, everything off of the rear. I have looked at my rear suspension points with the suspension completely collapsed down onto the axle. That's where I'll determine my shock position. I want to make sure that I pick a place where the shock is completely collapsed and the frame is just barely off of the axle. That way I can get the entire suspension traveled, but it bottoms out in as low a position as possible. So that is what I will look at there when I start to fabricate the new shock mounts. But now, since I've pulled all of that off with the body in position to really start fabricating, I need to cut out the entire Lexan bed. And I haven't decided. I may leave the tailgate for now while I am fabricating, just so that it stays square. But in the end, I think that I'll actually remove the center section of the tailgate. All right, now it's time to try and remove the paint from the windows. The stickers are still on currently, but I tried the Proline body cleaner. It didn't seem to do anything. So we're going to the 30% nitro fuel method. Gloves are on. I'm just going to do it by hand with a rag. See how clean I can get the lines. After 10 or so minutes of rubbing on the window, I think that I got all the paint off. It's kind of hard to see the difference there, but it goes from this white to the dark green, and then once all the dark is gone, you have a pretty good idea that you got everything removed. So I'm gonna pull the window sticker off now and see what this looks like. After I finished the nitro fuel, I rinsed this with water. Sticker comes off clean. My line was pretty straight, and now we have a clear window. As you can see, my finger through there now. And it's not even foggy. It's actually nice and clear. I'm gonna focus on the windshield, this other side window first, and then I'll probably leave this window and the back window for last, just depending on time. I went ahead and left the windshield banner and trim on the windshield just to make it a little bit easier on myself. I don't have to concentrate on the corners as much, and it'll help frame the windshield a little bit better so that I don't have to go back and paint anything myself. Okay, so we're 3 hours in. As you can see there, 3 of the windows are clear. I did the front 3 basically. We're still using the front body post mounting, and before I really locate the rear of the body again, I did buy some sliders. Now these are from RC 4-wheel drive, and they were listed as SCX3, but they're more specifically for an SCX3 Gladiator, which wasn't clear on the listing, and the problem is that they don't even fit between the tires. So I still want to use a slider, but I don't have another option. So I'm going to take and cut the extra length on these down first, see how they fit laterally on the chassis, and then see if I need to do some cutting and shortening on these to make them work on here still. So I'm going to do that quickly before we get to the rear bed work. With the car flipped over here, got the slider in place. The front edge obviously is going to be fine. It's this portion back here. So what I'm thinking about doing is cutting this slider just in front of this brace, and then cutting it here again, and then welding this portion back up here to shorten it the, roughly an inch worth of distance, and hopefully that gives me enough clearance. I may have to still take off just this tiny little portion on the back, but let's cut it apart. So got that slider welded up now. You can see that that extension there still just goes right past the wheel well. So we cut that off, and then that will be done. A lot of staring to try and plan out my tube work for the bed, how it's going to work, how my shock mounts are going to work. Shock mounts are like kind of the first stepping stone, and I just so happen to have these shock tabs here. So to make this easy on myself, I'm going to weld these directly to the chassis in about that location. That will give me a hard mounting point for the actual suspension, and then I can start basing the tube work around that, tie into it, brace to it however I need to, work the spare tire mounts around it. But getting some new shock mounting positions in place is the first thing that really needs to get done. So I'm starting on the rear bumper kind of the cage. I built 2 U-shaped bars. They go down, around, and up. There's a mirror of each of them, and I've got it equally spaced with this bar of aluminum. I used that as a width check to make a fence on my bandsaw, and I cut 5 identical standoffs. So I'm going to start by welding one in on each side so I can get these 2 pieces attached together. All right, little update, just had some food. So while I did that, brought the truck in, I'm going to install the Reef's comp spec 300 IS winch servo. I'm gonna take a look and see what position is best for that. I also have the 888 steering servo, which I'm going to install. So I'll get those 2 both in there. I need to look for a brushless motor as far as which one I want to throw in. And, you know, I think I'll put whatever ESC I choose in the same spot as the old one as well. But just going to kind of do that while I finish eating and get ready for the, you know, return to the garage. This is the start of the rear portion here. You can see the desert style bumper. This was kind of inspired off of a photo that I found. The 2 rear tires will sit in here. Actually, you can kind of see the back half of the carrier that will be there, and as you can also see, the frame rails in the way. So I'm going to cut off the frame rail just right past this tube that I've welded in already. So I need to, you know, put a matching one in, and then there's a lot more that has to go in, but this is the start of it, and it'll be the start of the rear tire carrier as well. All the structure that comes up, that it all bolts through, and then that will be nice and exposed when the tailgate is all cut out. So it's tucked way up there, so clearance is good. I still have to make, you know, mounts that come off of the cage work and capture the body, so giving me body mounting locations. The shock towers, you know, like I said, I just welded those straight to the chassis for now, but that'll all get tied in and braced and made to look a little bit fancier than just some tabs welded directly to the chassis. I ended up having to pull the front servo mount out. I was trying to install the new servo, and I noticed that I couldn't get it to sit down onto these front ears, and the servo is actually hitting this webbing here on the side. I don't want to space it up either, because then the servo horn is going to collide with the frame badly. So I'm going to have to trim out this plastic and see if I can get everything to seat down far enough to work. I'm to a point with the tube work that I've got a pretty solid base in there. I've got the spare tires mounted through a welded in mount that actually goes through there, and then they bolt on with a couple of barrel nuts. So some of just the basic structure of the tube work is what's done. It still needs some tie-ins and braces, and it needs finish welding, but it's back there and it's starting to take shape about how I want it. Of course, without planning it out, I'm all just winging it. I still need to do body mounts in the back and all of that as well, but what I want to do before that is with the body, I think that I'm ready to cut the tailgate out. And after I do that, I'm going to look at taking a section of Lexan out, possibly, and shortening it up. But I also don't know if it will need that once I've got the tailgate removed. So time to cut that and see what it looks like. Tailgate is out. No turning back now. It's desert style, like it or not. I actually think that I'm fine with that length. No reason to get crazy with doing that and having to put it all back together. So we're gonna leave it just like it is. Sticks about where I want it to anyway. Work on details and boxing in the back of that cab, and I need to work on my interior mount. So, all right, back to work. All right, so just crossing the halfway point now, actually. I'm trying to plan out how I want the rest of the tube racing to go. I was kind of playing with a couple of options, and I think I like this option over here best. 3 extra tubes per side for bracing in either version, but I think that this side is going to look a little bit better, so we're going to go with that. One thing I would like to do is that once I get those put in, I would like to do some aluminum inner panels to kind of get things closed off and make it look a little bit more fabricated and complete in the bed. I'd also like to do a 3D printed fuel cell, and I need to get that drawn up since that would be a bit of a custom fit. I need to get the bomber interior put in there since we've got a wide open interior space now, and these sliders are still bugging the crap out of me. If you can see here, I shortened them so that they are an appropriate length, but it starts, like the hoop starts right here, which is like mid-door, and it just looks, I just don't like it. So I'm thinking about cutting the whole thing off of the mounts and then sliding it all forward about 3/4 of an inch or so, and then I would likely cut off that front nub, and that would put this whole piece in the door area. It would start about at the door and it would end right at the cab line, and I think that would look
a lot better than this currently does. It's just another, I should have just made my own, but you know, we got this far, and to make them work, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of extra work. You can tell the suspension droops way out. We've got a considerable amount of travel now. So a lot more than before, and that's just because of the shock angle. And I think it looks pretty desert appropriate like that. I don't know how much more I'm gonna get done tonight yet, but we'll see. Okay, it's about 2:30 in the morning now, but I've got the bracing all in place on both sides, and I have cut up this slider again and moved it forward about an inch. You can see this side, if you note where the this dives in, it's a little bit after the return of that slider, and now up here it's actually, you know, from compared to here, now it's all the way up here. So I cut off the mounting legs, slid it forward, and then re-welded all of those. So I need to do that to the other side now, and then I need to pull this thing apart so that I can finish weld all the joints. That may be tomorrow. I might go and start creating the aluminum inner, you know, like panels or inner skins for this tonight still, and then work on finish welding tomorrow. So, or today, later, whatever we want to call it. But I want to get to a good stopping point, and I think getting that other slider done is a bare minimum, and maybe some of those inner panels. So we shall see. It's getting late already though. So just about to a stopping point for the night. Like I said, have all of the tube work in place. It's not finished welded, and I still need to add some body mounting plates here and there, but the tubes that are going to be in there are in there. I got the sliders redone. I think they're in a much better position now and look much more appropriate. So that's a good, I'm glad that we did that. Spent a lot of time reworking sliders that I bought that I thought were going to be done. The biggest bummer of the night though is that I absolutely torched this axle housing. I was welding, I had the whole thing compressed, and I've got the suspension travel to a point where it will go all the way down to the chassis, and I absolutely torched the axle there. I'm going to investigate how bad that is. If I hurt the housing too bad, I don't necessarily have, I don't have a spare housing here, so I couldn't get one in time. But if it's too bad, I do have a set of straight axles that are down in that bin right there. So I theoretically could straight axle swap this if I need to, but I don't know. It's not, it doesn't look good, but I just don't know if I did melt it pretty good through there. So that's what I get for being in a rush. I still have to get the interior mounted, finish weld, paint, and then try and make this body look better. That's still a thing. I'm gonna go ahead and call it for the evening, get a little bit of sleep, try and get 3 or 4 hours, and then wake up and hit this thing again. So until the next day. It's morning. Just ran to get coffee. We have 8.5 hours remaining. I don't know why all of a sudden it feels like I have no time left. I don't know. I got a few hours of sleep was all, and Matt and I are gonna do a quick live stream just to kind of see what each other's feeling like. And I have a feeling that I, like normal, bit off more than I could chew, and I feel like Matt probably is well rested and nearly complete with whatever he was going to do. We'll see how correct I am. I've got a bucket of coffee to finish so that I have some energy. It's time to do this. Starting by making some masking tape templates for my aluminum panels. I'll probably transfer the masking tape to cardboard before I finally transfer it onto some aluminum. So trying to get some stuff knocked out. So I'm trying to make a rear wall for the bed to kind of close in the back of the cab, and I'm actually decided to cut up the bed cover and using the part with the body post hole just for funny, no reason really. Anyway, I've got it cut to shape, and I need to add some clearance for the drive shaft and links, and I need a little bit of a radius in the corner, so I felt like it was the perfect time to use the circle maker. Okay, templates are all in. I got the tires mounted, but you can see where the aluminum panels will be there, and this one in the center here. It's notched to fit around the drive shaft. The back wall will sit about like that, help close off the interior. Should make that look much more finished back there. I may or may not get a fuel cell printed. We'll see. That's really, I'm really running out of time to start 3D printing anything. It just takes way too long. So, and I still got to get the interior mounted. But these are going to be the big steps, and then I need to move on to try and make this look a little bit better. Hopefully still clear out at least these side windows. The back window I could do without if I need to. Now I need to transfer these panels, or these templates, to aluminum and get those made and mounted. Okay, I've transferred the cardboard panels onto aluminum, cut out the rough shapes. I'm going to take them out into the garage, shear them to exact size, put them in the bender, the brake, and get the panels all fit to how they need to be. I've also started mocking up the interior location. Surprise, it's a bomber interior. And then I need to get this all torn down so that I can do the finish welding on this. And then I'll probably paint it. Probably sounds like a good... Oh, I still need to put body mounts on. At least here in the back. I could... Yeah, and there. Okay. I still got some welding to do. But... How much time we have left? What are we at? What are we at? What are we at? 5.5 hours. Okay, got all the aluminum panels made and fitted. They still have to be attached. For this one, it's likely not going to be the prettiest attachment because I don't have any safety wire, which I would usually use to attach these because it's super clean, but I don't have any here. It's all at my office. So we're going to use a different method for today. But before I do any of that, time to tear this thing down and finish weld out and put the body mounts on. So I'm gonna get that done first, and then I'm gonna start moving towards wrapping up some of these parts. And I'm dangerously close to out of argon. Like, I don't know how many of these I'm gonna get through. So I'm gonna focus on the most important ones and go from there. All right, I've welded out everything that I think that I'm going to. I've added some body mounts here on the rear, and now I've disconnected the second half of the frame. I'm going to try and separate it so that I can get it cleaned up so I can paint it quick. We're at 3 hours 45 remaining. Three and a half hours left. It's time to start reassembling. It's painted, or black, flat black primer at least. I'm gonna get that together. I've got to get the panels attached. I still have to put find a brushless motor and ESC to put in here. Get that wired up. Program the radio, and paint and mount the bomber interior. So I'm down to the wire. Okay, rear bed is all wrapped up. Tires are in there. Panels are all on and attached. The bed, or the back of the cab piece, is attached. I made an interior mount for the back side. The front side is going to be a simple drilled hole, and I shot a single coat of black paint on it right now. It's drying, but I need to get the electronics installed. I found a Mamba X that I'm going to use. Thought I had a motor. I know I've got a Rock 412 somewhere. I just have to find it. Okay, under 2 hours left. I got the, I have a Rock 412 3100 kV and an RX4 that I had here. I had just soldered up. I just plugged it in to try and use it, and it just freaks out. So I'm going to try and plug it into the computer quick and see what is going on. Okay, I loaded my setup file from my previous, like when I ran RX4s before. We're going to see if this thing tries to absolutely just like rip itself out of my hands again though. So I'm going to hold it off of the ground. Give it a hair of throttle and just see if it freaks out again. Doesn't do anything. Okay. That's interesting. I don't have the servo plugged in. We'll try that and see if the radio's working. No, I've got nothing. Actually turned off when I plugged the ESC in, or I plugged the servo in. Oh boy. Are all these things unplugged? Everything else except the ESC from the receiver. What in the world is going on? As soon as I plug it into this thing, it goes off. I'm turning the radio off. Okay, it's fine when the radio's not. Nope, it does. It still just goes off. Why? What in the world? Ah. Okay, I'm switching radios. I don't have time for this. Okay, I switched radios and it still did it. I think I figured out what I did wrong. It's going backwards, but I don't care. It's fine for now. We'll do it the simple way for now. Okay, whatever, good enough. It's running. Let's get this thing finished. 1 hour, 20 minutes left. Loading some graphics so that I can get them cutting on some carbon fiber vinyl. Hour and 20 minutes left. Let's go. The carbon fiber vinyl, not my favorite, but it, you know, we got like 36 minutes left, and so that's getting, that's staying on there. Last of the final assembly. Here we go. 29 minutes to go, and I think I've got a runner. I think it's done. Let's light throttle. Okay. Yes. Okay. Moves forward and backwards. Let me find a bigger battery and maybe take it out into the street. All right, let's see how it drives. Still got like 15 minutes left of my deadline. 8 minutes left. Test run done. Motor's nice and cool. Total success.
That was insanely fun. I'm just gonna say, I hope Matt agrees to more of these, because I could see this being a great time. And maybe I'll learn how much is appropriate to try and get done. I got back in the Jeep with 6 minutes left on the clock. So I am going to pull into the store and buy myself some beverages. There's still one really fun part left, and that is I get to see Matt's truck and see what he did. We're gonna do a recorded reveal to each other, and I'll probably play that now. Cheers again.
Cheers to being done. That was 24 hours well spent.
24 hours, yeah, and I used as much of it as I could.
Yeah, I was a little more relaxed. Not at first. I was hyper aggressive and like just rushing, like ripping through stuff, just like crossing stuff off the list. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna relax now.
I just kind of I tried to steady pace, and then right until the end, and then dead sprint.
I'm sure, though, it's probably because you and I took vastly different approaches to our final product. Me, we talked about this a little bit in the live stream. I was going for like artistic, just use what you've got. Don't try to overdo it. Don't do what Josh does.
And I did exactly what you think I would do, other than the fact that I didn't use my 3D printer once, and I didn't use my CNC once.
That's crazy to me, because those are objects that you use all the time. I mean, I use my 3D printer. I didn't fabricate anything, so I didn't weld or braze or even touch a piece of metal, if I'm honest.
And the reason I didn't use my 3D printer was because, like, if I was going to design a part from scratch,
oh, you had no time for that.
Design time just sucks time. I'm excited to show you.
I'm excited to show you too. I think you'll like what I've done, and I'm sure I'm going to like what you've done.
I think that what I've done will take a different type. You'll be like, I appreciate the work you put into it. I spent so little time on outward appearance, and at the end, I cut some vinyl, and I made a choice on vinyl, and I did it, and I was just like, I don't love my choice. Let's flip a coin. I have here an RC 4-wheel drive West Coast Challenge coin.
Okay, which is...
One side is raised, and it has an FJ on it. Or a Defender, sorry. The other side is flat. You're calling it. I'm flipping it.
I'll call it Defender.
Defender it is. Your
so
choice.
I can choose? All right, I'll let you go first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yeah, I want to see this thing. I want to see what you've done. I like it. I don't.
So, did a big full rear cage.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Aluminum paneled out.
Oh, holy cow! So wait a second. That's all aluminum panel?
Yeah, this is all aluminum panels.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
All bent and cut to fit. You know.
That's awesome.
I've got
almost.
I did like a long travel pre-runner style.
Yeah,
a lot more travel than stock, but still using the 90 millimeter stock shock. I was going to replace the rear shock, and I have them here. I just didn't have time to build them. 419 tires.
Interesting choice.
Right? 419 KM3s.
Bizarro World?
Matching spares in the rear.
Nice.
So, you know.
I like the gold beadlock rings.
A little bit of vinyl. It's carbon fiber vinyl. It's not my favorite. I wish I would have had time to do the double layer with the white. I have a white file that's supposed to be the outline, and then I didn't have time.
I think that cage on the back is fantastic.
So
that sets it off, man. That looks really, really good.
And,
let's see it without the body on.
Like you can hinge it up to get to things.
Okay, all right.
I did also change out the steering servo.
Yes.
To a Reefs 888.
Nice.
And
ooh, that's a lot.
It is. And if you notice, I've got the Comp 300 winch right here.
Yeah. Oh, you put it there.
Yeah. Fit down. It clears.
It goes right through, and you're using the original bumper too.
I'm using the same radio still. I haven't spooled the winch yet.
Yeah. Hey.
And
I also haven't spooled the winch. Fabrication-wise, you knocked it out of the park as per usual. The shock mount relocation, amazing. The tube work, very, very good. You should pull it up. I want to see more of it. Like I need to see it more.
Well, and the sliders. I reworked the sliders to three times to make them fit this body, since they were technically for a Gladiator and
they were for a Gladiator. Yeah.
Nowhere near correct.
How much of the rear chassis rails are all still there? Right?
No. Well, no. They're cut off right at the rear axle.
Okay. And then it's all cage behind that.
And it's all tube.
I love how the tube works around the tires too. That's really slick. Be proud of that, because the amount of fabrication that went into that would take me a week.
There was a lot of fabricate, and I'm a
lot of bending.
I'm at like 0 psi left on my argon bottle.
I saw that in the chat.
Right to the wire.
Wow.
So.
Well, you did an amazing job. I'm really impressed. It looks good.
I wish that it looked like there was more done from here.
Right. Yeah, because when you pulled it up, I was like, what did he do?
Yeah.
He did nothing.
That's the big thing. It's like from here, it doesn't honestly look like that much. So.
Yeah.
I wish that I could have done more in that respect.
Well, but that's the trade-off, right? You've only got 24 hours. You can choose to either fabricate an entire cage, or you can paint the truck.
Yeah.
Speaking of painting the truck, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yes. No way! This challenge, unsurprisingly, was a huge amount of fun and a real test of what I could get done in 24 hours. Lots of things that I would do different, lots of things I would do the same. I really enjoyed the fab work that I got done. If I was going to change anything, it would be focusing a little bit more on the changing of the style of the truck body itself. But I enjoy this truck enough now that maybe I pick up the clear version of this body and have it painted in a way that I think complements the build a little bit more. If you haven't already, make sure to go check out Matt's video. He did an amazing job in a completely different way than I did, and I really enjoyed seeing what he got done. I know that these are long videos, and it's a totally different style than anything we've done in the past, seeing everything in one video rather than multiple. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I definitely enjoyed the project overall and look forward to more of these in the future. If you guys have suggestions on what you'd like to see in more 24-hour mayhems, drop them in the comments below. But with that, that is going to wrap up the Base Camp Mayhem. Had a lot of fun with it, and I don't think it's the last you've seen of this truck. It'll be around. So thanks again for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if not already. Comment, subscribe, all those things, all the words. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you on the next one.